Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Thank you.
Yesterday, I was out at one of our pool customers, and they asked us about putting a salt generator on their pool because somebody told them that it was a better way of sanitizing the pool. And our company, we've never sold those things. We just don't know anything about them. So, could you tell me in 15 or 20 minutes everything that I need to know to make a presentation to this customer tomorrow?
Well, Bill, that's a good question, and I'm glad that you called and you asked me about it. Honestly, it's something that would open up a whole other avenue for your company in terms of sales and in terms of customer service and support. Um, One of the biggest concerns that or biggest complaints that I've always gotten from customers is handling liquid chlorine, transporting liquid chlorine, the hazards of liquid chlorine. Um, and usually with salt, you're just going to get rid of most of those things. You're not getting rid of chlorine 100%, but you are going to stop with the buying of liquid chlorine, the handling of it, and you're not going to deal with the effects of the liquid chlorine. In general, you're not going to be hearing much more of dry skin, irritated eyes, even some people that their clothes fades over time. You're still going to have chlorine in the water, but it's going to be a much more pure form of chlorine. And the way that happens is once you install the system into your plumbing, you're literally going to be pouring food grade salt almost into the water. Any type of salt would work, but you can't use rock salt. Um, Once that starts to dissolve and once it starts passing through the system, you'll notice that you have what's called a cell. And inside that cell, there's going to be what we refer to as blades. These blades are charged with electricity, and through a process called electrolysis, as the salt passes through the cell, the electricity literally splits the salt on a molecular level where you're getting sodium and chlorine. Once all that passes through, what you're getting out of your return is pure sodium hypochlorite, which is just pure sanitizer right out of the box.
Something you just said kind of concerned me a little bit. I don't like electricity in the water. Is there any potential for shocking or anything?
No, there's no potential for shock. It's self-contained. It's very low. It's not even voltage really. We base it on amperage. So you're not going to feel any type of current in the water. There's not going to be any danger to anybody swimming in the water. It's all self-contained. There's no risk of any type of voltage getting into the water, electrical shock or anything like that. No.
Okay, thanks.
The other good thing to know about it is it's going to soften the water. I don't know if you're familiar with like water softeners for the home. It's using salt to soften your water basically through your shower, through the tap, or whatever. The same concept, really. The salt and the whole process of it really softens the water. It also makes the water a little bit more clear. Um, what else do I have? What else can I tell you about it? There's just so many great benefits to it. You're saving time and not having to dump liquid chlorine, not having to go buy liquid chlorine every week. You're saving money up front and in the long run, and not having to do that as well. You're only adding salt to the water through dilution. You get a heavy rain, pool overfills. If you have to drain the water and refill, you have to add some salt, but you're not. It's not something where you're going every week or every 10 days to your local pool store to buy the jerry jugs. You can give them back as credit. You can throw them away. You can give them to a neighbor. You're not really going to need to use them anymore.
So you're saying that the system doesn't consume salt? Is that what you're saying?
The system does not consume salt. What happens after the salt passes through and the chlorine is made, it actually reverts back into sodium
Hmm.
inside the water, and the process essentially is just being recycled through the system over and over and over again.
All right. Well, tell me about the equipment and how much it costs, and how do you size it, and all the practical side of this, the maintenance of it, all that kind of stuff.
Sizing is very straightforward. You give me the gallons of the pool that you need, and I size a cell for you, the system for you. It's all based on gallons. There's no real math to it. I usually like to oversize it a little bit. For example, if you've got a 30,000 gallon pool, I would size you for the 42,000 gallon cell. The reasoning behind that for me is the cell has to work less. It's more efficient in producing chlorine for the pool, and it's going to last you longer than if you sized it exactly for what your pool needs. If you sized it for what the pool needed, it would have to run at a higher percentage, run longer, and the longer it does that and the more you use it, the harder it works, the less time the cell is going to last for you. Maintenance is very, very simple. The whole unit is already programmed to what's called reverse polarity. And what that's going to do is it's going to reverse the current in the cell to knock off scale that builds up on the blades over time as the electrolysis happens. You can set it on the machine for every, I think it's 4 hour intervals that you can set it up to. You can do it manually if you had to. Um, and to do it manually is very simple. Some people recommend um, 100% acid. I never go with 100% acid. It's damaging to the coating on the cells. I usually tell people 50-50 if it's really, really strong, but if it's just a regular thing that you see some scale on it, I usually do 25% acid, 75% water. You can cap it off, fill it up, let it bubble. You'll see the acid working on the scale. Once that's done, you can open it up and just rinse it with clean water, connect it all back together, and it'll run
Well,
100%
I
again.
thought you said it was self-cleaning because of polarity reversal.
Well, the polarity reversal, from my experience, I can't guarantee that it's going to get everything off all the time. You may see some scale on it, but that's really something you would only check it maybe twice a year, once a year. Like I said, the cell will normally clean itself, but if you're still seeing some scale that's left over, a quick acid wash will just take care of any scale that builds up.
Okay.
Cost up front is a little bit more expensive. Well, obviously, it's more expensive than buying liquid chlorine. Liquid chlorine is very cheap um, in the scheme of things, but over time, the salt system is actually going to save you money. Like I said, since you don't have to buy salt every week, you can go months without having to buy salt depending on your temperature and your conditions of your pool. Um, Generally, a pool that's not leaking, you're dealing with some evaporation, which is normal, but you could go 2 months, 2.5 months, I've seen, sometimes more, without having to add salt. Most people typically save money in the long run since they're not buying any more liquid chlorine. Doesn't mean that you're not taking care of the other um, maintenance chemicals that are in the pool. You still need to worry about your pH. You still need to worry about your alkalinity. You need to worry about your calcium. You need to worry about your stabilizer. But liquid chlorine is just being produced. As long as the system is running, it's producing sanitizer for however long you're running the pool.
It's interesting. How long does the machine last?
Typically, the cell. I mean, it really depends on how you're maintaining it, how you're maintaining the pool, and how hard the unit is working. I've typically seen that they will last 3 years. Some have lasted longer, but typically I've seen about 3 years you'll get out of one cell. Once that happens, you'll most likely get a type of warning on the unit, depending which unit you get, about low amperage. The low amperage is usually a pretty good indicator that the cell has been depleted and it's time to replace it. Depending on the cell, you would only need to just unscrew it from the machine with the two unions, buy the replacement, put it in, and it'll start running again, no problem. The unit also has some very good features. We on our manifold, you'll notice that it's very different compared to the competition, and we've made it this way on purpose. One of the first things you'll notice is that there's going to be a screen trap, and what that's going to do is it's going to grab any debris that may have passed the filter, may have passed the pump basket, and we're going to try to catch as much as we can so it doesn't get trapped in the cell or cause any damage to the cell. Um, you'll notice that there's also something that's right on the top of it. We call that our tri-sensor. Our tri-sensor does three things, as the name implies. It's going to check the flow of the water, it's going to check the temperature, and it's going to check the salinity. That information is read automatically at all times, and you can see that information on the readout of your power supply. The benefits also of the manifold is that we force it into breakpoint chlorination, and what that means, it's a fancy term to just say that we're super chlorinating the water and getting rid of any chloramines. We're eliminating chloramines, which causes a smell, and we're getting rid of them right away. So literally, what you're getting out of the pool again is just pure sodium hypochlorite. None of the chloramines are staying in the water. They're all eliminated as they pass through the cell and through the manifolds. The last thing we also have is a check valve, and what we're doing is we're just ensuring that the manifold is getting the proper gallons per minute to continue to produce chlorine. If at any time it drops below what's required, the unit is going to stop, and we do that in order to protect the cell, to protect your investment, so that we don't burn it out and we don't just it's not working and not producing anything. And you'll get warnings right away on the readout, low flow. You'll see salt readings, so you'll know if the salt is too low or too high. Um, and typically, you're going to get more of a low salt reading. Our units can run on seawater, which is 10 times the amount of what you're going to get in your pool ever. So the margin of error for the users is very thought out. That anybody can run it, anybody can use it, and it's going to work for just about anybody that wants to give it a try. And we're more than sure that everybody that tries it is going to be very pleased with the results of the unit.
How do we handle warranty?
Warranty. Well, the unit itself has a 1 year parts and labor warranty. I'm sorry. Um, if at any time the unit is defective or stops working, we can send a technician out. One of your technicians can go and take a look at it, perform some diagnostics. If we find out that it's a manufacturing defect or a faulty part, we'll replace the part, no problem. But typically, the warranties are handled out through your techs on site.
Well, yeah, but I'm in Mexico. What are you going to do for me, senor?
um, it's a great question. Our international warranty is going to be handled then through our worldwide team. Um, Again, if it's something that has been through bad manufacturing or a defective part, we'll replace the part. If it's within the year, if it's past the year, then what we do is you have to charge your customer for the new piece. There's no other way around that, unfortunately. But what we can do is send you guys some diagnostic tools that you guys can use on the field to determine what part is wrong, what might need to be replaced, and we can definitely give you guys some technical training as far as doing diagnostics from the unit, from the cell, out in the field, so that we can better understand what's the problem with the unit and help you fix it. That was pretty good, I think. Do you have any more questions? Anything that I maybe haven't covered?
Um, how hard is it to install?
extremely easy to install. As with all of these things, it's always going to be the last piece of equipment on your plumbing. So if you have a heater, it's going to go after the heater. It's always going to be after the filter. If you have ozone, you can hook it up with the ozone. Um, Installation is very simple. It's literally just cutting out some plumbing, gluing this in, installing the cell and its manifolds, plugging up power, turning it on and letting it go. And it's going to start running as soon as the timer kicks on and the pump starts running. It's going to start producing chlorine.
Mhm.
Installation is very, very straightforward. Nothing, to me at least, it's nothing that can't be done by a regular pool technician. As long as he's a savvy guy, he can definitely get it plumbed in. The power would probably have to be done by someone with a little more experience, but it's still very, very simple to install. All the instructions are provided. Um, we can provide you with videos if you need to. If we'd have to provide you with some videos on installation, but it's usually pretty straightforward.
You said something about a readout on the power supply, and we're in Mexico, so our people don't speak English here.
Well, the good thing is most of our units come pre-programmed with 4 languages. Spanish is definitely one of them. French, if you have French customers, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think German might be the other one. But Spanish is definitely in there. English is in there, of course. You can change the temperature to Celsius. We also have some units where we can send you metric adapters for your metric plumbing and your metric needs. So the language can be changed to Spanish, the temperature can be changed to Celsius, and essentially the whole unit can be customized to your customer's needs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, Tony. I'm still a little scared. I mean, do you sell a lot of these things?
Yes, we've had very good success with them here in the U.S. market. Still one of the possibly the in technology microprocessing. Definitely one of the top brands worldwide. We have them in just about every country that we visit. So in reality, we have them in about 80 countries all over the world where people are using them, installing them, and to this day still happy with it. There's one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that Autopilot was essentially the innovator of this technology. It started back in the late 70s with Electronator. When Horner bought that company, we continued with the product, and essentially not much has changed in terms of cell design, components. The only thing that's really gotten better is microprocessing. Quality control has gotten better over time. The units themselves, the power supplies have advanced dramatically. So pretty much the unit has been a staple in the market for a long, long time.
All right. Well, thanks very much. If you'll give me some brochures, I'll go give it a go.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thank you.